Meet NordPass. It creates strong passwords for you, keeps them safely locked in a single place, and automatically logs you into all of your favorite online accounts. And you can access it all on all of your devices, even when you're offline. That's NordPass.
The world's most advanced cold wallet for the new generation of cryptocurrency lovers. Descent.
Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profit. And this video, we are going to be getting an update on nightlife.crypto with one of the advisors from this project, and that is Draith. I know him as Captain Draith from Pirate Chain, but he's also an advisor to the Nightlife project. Hey Draith, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do you want to say, for those of the viewers who don't know about Nightlife, we're not used to Nightlife Crypto, is now Nightlife Drifting, what it is, how it works?
Well, Nightlife Drifting is a game built on the Nightlife platform. So Nightlife Drifting is actually it's pretty obvious. It's a drifting game. So it's an automotive drifting game that includes NFTs for any given part or car that's available in game. It's a competitive racing game against other users. It's play and earn, meaning that the funds that you earn is used in game to purchase various parts, whether it's performance parts that help give you the edge over other users, various weapons that'll be available in game, or just customizable parts on your car to make your car completely unique from anybody else. So there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of various NFTs that'll be available over time for users to just deck out their car, compete in tournaments, and how even buy land within the game itself to advertise your project or whatever you want. So, for example, like you can buy a portion of a sub-district to advertise your project or your company in-game. So there's tons and tons of rich features that will be included in the game over time once we get an alpha version out, which will be a decent amount of time until that happens, just because of the scope of the game itself. We have continually expanded our scope of what we're wanting to do, just because there's so many brilliant ideas that are had within the game development team that it just makes sense to add to the game. So we don't want to produce something that is just fun for 5 minutes and then people are done with it. We want to make an entire ecosystem out of this game and an entire community for this game as well. So,
right, like something that people can fully immerse themselves in.
Exactly.
Okay, and is the game available for people to play now?
Not right now. It's still in development. It's going to be in development for quite a while, just because of how large this game will be. I mean, there's going to be different types of races through different types of districts, with tournaments, with competitive racing, where you can actually put up some funds or potentially put up your car to in a race against somebody else. And think of it like pink slips, where if you win the race, you win that person's car. That's an idea that we've had. That's a very, very obviously risky type of race to do, just because you could put in decent amount of funds into your car, and if you were to lose, you end up losing that car. So that's something that we're toying with, but the main idea for the competitive racing is to put up a little bit of funds against other users, so that whoever wins the pot of funds minus a certain percentage for the race itself. So
right,
there's a lot of cool stuff like that, building crews so that you can have a bunch of your friends play with you in various different game modes, like basically relay races. So you can start off on a particular street inside the city, racing against another user or two, so you can race against other teams, and then think of it like once you complete that circuit, your turn ends, and then the next player on your team goes, and then just completes the race, and whoever wins the pot of funds or wins respect and so forth. You can also buy garages for within the city to just advertise your crew and things like that. You can deck out your garage, even if it's outside the city, because if you form a crew, you'll have a garage automatically outside the city that is just your personal garage with your crew, so you can add stuff to it, like different, say, posters, for example, or different lighting, different objects, and so forth, just to have something really awesome looking. So there's so many different aspects to this game. It's just crazy. So
Right. And you can also, if I remember correctly, be able to rent out your cars or rent out some of the add-ons that you've got to your cars to other players.
exactly. So if you win parts or purchase parts, things like that, or even have super unique cars, you can actually loan them or rent them to other users. That's something else that we're going to be implementing into the game as well.
Right. Which would mean there'd be hope for me then. Because I can use at this game, right? I can rent it
Well,
out to you,
well,
Dre.
the one thing we wanted to make sure of is that when a user plays, it's as fair as possible, right? So while you could have, a completely decked out car complete with all these, high end parts and everything, you're not going to be competing against other users who are, don't have those items, because we have it as a tier system
Right.
to where, you know, based off of the performance parts on your car determines what tier your car is in, and then you'll be facing off against other users in that tier. And we also make it so that regardless of how much money you have, you won't immediately advance to, say, tier 10. You'll still start off in tier 1 because there's requirements to the amount of races that you win, things like that, so that it forces you to actually compete against other users in that level.
And
So
also
as you grow in,
skills.
exactly to hone your skills and everything. So you can't. It's not a pay to win game to where you just buy the best stuff and then automatically you're competing against the other best players. And so on top of that, we throw in the weapon system in the game, so that there's various weapons like digital oil slicks or digital weapons to where it'll slow down your car or spin you out or things like that, just to throw a monkey wrench into it, so that say a user who isn't as quite as good as, say, another user still has a chance. So it throws a degree of randomness into the game in terms of what could happen.
Okay. Okay. Now this is going to take some development. And I know I've asked you this before in previous interviews, but I'm asking you again because people may be listening to this for the first time. Is how are you set up in terms of for having the right number of developers and enough developers, and also for funding?
So as of right now, because of the scope increase of the game, we're actually looking for various methods in which we can raise additional funds over the course of the next 2 years, which is when we expect the full game release to be out. But the full game release meaning like everything that we wanted in the game is included, right? So over time, we will have other releases, including like an alpha release where it's like single player with weapons and you face AI and things like that. But after that alpha release, we'll have multiple beta releases to where a new district is added. You play against other users, and all that stuff, it counts toward the full game release, right? So whatever happens in those beta releases gets carried forward, so that you don't lose any progress or you don't lose any, NFTs or anything like that. So everything still counts once it hits beta.
Right.
So every single beta version, like I said, includes a new feature or two, plus additional parts and cars, plus a new district and everything. So all of that is slated to take about 2 years to fully develop to get to the full release. But the game will be playable once it hits the first beta release, first alpha release for single player, and then beta release for multiplayer.
And when do you expect that to be the first alpha release?
Oh, timelines are never good for developers, man. That's one thing that I've learned throughout my entire time with crypto, is that you can plan and plan and plan and expect something to happen during a certain time, but things come up and throw monkey wrenches into development time schedules and so forth. So what the hope is that if we are able to raise the capital needed to hire the additional developers, develop additional artists, and all those other people that we need to actually really ramp up production, then the expectation is, at least for alpha, would be, say, Q4 of this year, maybe Q1 of next year. So the timetable is very long, but it's because of the scope of the game that we're developing is why it takes so long. And I've learned so much being involved in game development with this project that it's amazing the things that you don't realize goes into a project in terms of building an entire like AAA style game that is just unknown to the public. That once you jump in, it's like, wow, there's so much that goes on.
Okay. And then this is a blockchain game. Do you want to let people know where the token comes in, and how how this game is connected to the blockchain? Because pretty much so far it could just be an ordinary, I don't mean ordinary, like a non-blockchain legacy game.
Yeah, so the token comes in with the whole play and earn style, right? So whenever you win a race, you win X amount of tokens, right? And then from that point, you utilize those tokens to purchase additional parts, which are NFTs, to gain advancements on your car, whether it's an engine, injector, suspension, one of the multitude of different parts that we have that'll be available for upgrading your car and so forth, or even upgrading the styling of your car, whether it's front bumper, exhaust, sounds for your car. So like you can have different off sounds for those of you who know what those are, supercharger noises, things like that, to actually enhance the experience of the game itself.
Right. Okay. And you're talking about the nlife token, right? Which is available on PancakeSwap.
That is potentially what will be used. Yes.
Right.
It all depends on the structure we put in place for funding and things like that. It could be hopefully that we could get a potential grant for it to build the game, in which case we would probably use the nlife token, or it would be a separate token that has its own token sale for the game itself. So there's multiple methods in which we're considering, depending on the people that we're talking to actually get this done. The hope is that we would actually get a grant for the game and have it milestone based. This way we can actually, build based off of those milestones and not have to worry about a second currency and all this other stuff. So
very cool. Very cool. Okay. Anything else you want to let us know is happening with nlife drifting?
Yeah, so we have a gameplay clip that was like 10 seconds that we made just to show off like the very, very preliminary graphics that are in the game, which is outstanding, by the way. Every time I watch it, I'm just still flabbergasted as far as what we've built so far in terms of the city, in terms of the graphics for the car, and just various things that happen. But keep in mind, just to realize that these are even as good as it looks, these are still preliminary graphics that are in there. So there's a bunch of visual upgrades that we're going to be doing in terms of ray tracing and all this other cool stuff to make the game really awesome looking.
Great. Okay. What else?
Aside from that, we're still building out our partnerships in terms of building partnership cars. So we have another car that we'll be releasing at some point soon, maybe in the next month or two, so that users can purchase that car and be able to use it in game along with all the parts and things like that. So there's tons of stuff going on behind the scenes. And the one thing I will say is that as little announcements as we come up with for announcing to the community in terms of development and how things are going, it's one thing I've realized is it's really annoying to just come out with announcements every week stating, hey, we're working on the game, things are progressing well. There's not much additional stuff we can really show you, but just to let you know we're advancing on the game. So while our announcements are few and far between, they are major announcements in terms of the status of the game and how things are going and so forth. So
yeah, because otherwise the announcements are little more than, yep, we're writing some more code. Yep,
exactly.
We're writing some more code. We've added more lines of code to the code we added last
exactly week. So while some communities it makes sense to actually have announcements every week or two or so forth, or even every month, with developing a real game, and this is a real game, developing a game like to this magnitude, it doesn't make sense to actually have announcements at a regular pace, just because until we actually get to certain milestones, then we would make announcements on, hey, this is where we're at, this is what we've achieved so far, and this is where we're going, this is the additional stuff that we're doing, and so forth.
Right. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Anything else, Draith, that we haven't covered that you want to mention?
I think that's about it.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I look forward to having you on my channel again at some point soon, talking about Pirate Chain or BPSAA or Nightlife.
One of the many things I'm involved in.
One of the many, many things that you're involved in. And I'll have all the links in the description below so people can go and check this project out. If you're already involved, let me know. Give me the ticker symbol for this project, nlife. And also, please follow me on Odyssey, Crypto Rich Odyssey. You can see up here. join my official Telegram announcements channel, and also follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Draith signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.